Good morning everyone, I am Manohar. Today let us discuss some of the important topics related to geography current affairs. So the first question is with reference to earthquakes. It was put in place with consideration to the recent disastrous earthquake which happened in Turkey. Okay, so let us examine the reason behind this the earthquake in Turkey. Okay, can anyone say what is the reason behind this earthquake in Turkey? Because of fault movement. Okay, but can anybody tell on which plate does Turkey as a continent is present? Which plates? What are those plates? So Turkey as a country, it is situated on a triple junction. Okay, so the triple junction is where the plate boundaries, they interact with three adjoining plates. So if you see this diagram here this Anatolia plate. So Turkey is present on Anatolia plate, and this is the Asian plate. Okay, and this is the Arabian plate. If you can see here, this Anatolia plate is sandwiched between Eurasian plate, Arabian plate and Asian plate. Okay, so if you see here the Turkey earthquake, here the movement of plates is not beneath, or they are not either colliding, or neither one plate is sinking beneath the another. Here it is a kind of transform boundary, okay, where the plates are sliding past each other. So if you can see here, this Anatolia plate is moving towards this side, okay, whereas the Asian plate is moving towards the south. Okay, so here the earthquake is because of a transform boundary. So let us see this first question. All natural earthquakes takes place in the lithosphere. Okay, so this is a correct statement. All natural earthquakes take place in the lithosphere only, because for earthquake to occur, okay, there need to be some kind of frictional drag which happening in the lithosphere, lithospheric plates. Now see the second option. Body waves are first generated at the epicenter and move in all the directions. So is this statement correct or wrong? Wrong statement, because what is the fault here? Focus. See, we know that the place of origin of earthquake is called as focus, and the place exactly above the focus is called as epicenter. Okay, so body waves are generated from the focus and not from the epicenter. Okay, but what are those waves which are generated from the epicenter? Surface waves. Okay, so seismic waves after generating from the focus, they reach the surface, and from the epicenter onwards the surface waves originate, whereas body waves, they originate from the focus only. Okay, so let us consider the third option. The S wave propagation reveals that inner core is made of liquid. Is this statement correct? Wrong, because outer core is made of liquid. Okay, so earthquake, what is the properties of S wave? S waves are transverse waves, they cannot travel in liquids. Okay, so while these S waves, they are approaching towards the outer core, because of the liquid nature of the outer core, they are unable to penetrate the outermost layer of the core. Okay, so this is a false statement. This is also false statement. All natural earthquakes, this is the correct statement. Next, P waves propagate longitudinally, whereas S waves propagate transversely. So this is again a correct statement. Now let us see another question regarding this related to earthquakes, about aftershocks. So aftershocks, these are a series of earthquakes which happen after the main earthquake. So like if we can plot the earthquakes and their magnitude in a graph in a time scale, okay, so the main earthquake is referred to as a main shock. Okay, so before this main earthquake, a series of smaller earthquakes, they are called as foreshocks, whereas after the main earthquake, again we find a series of smaller earthquakes, they are called as aftershocks. Okay, so generally the earthquake with the largest magnitude is considered as the main shock. Okay, whereas for aftershocks, they have a little bit lower magnitude. So aftershock happened due to readjustment of the tectonic plates after the main earthquake. Okay, this is in fact a correct statement, because once the main earthquake happens, the plates are once again getting back to the normal position. So there is a readjustment process which is happening. Okay, so this is the correct statement. Aftershocks can be seen up to weeks or years after the main earthquake. Yeah, this is also correct. Okay, there is no particular time period within which we can see aftershocks. They can continue up to years together. Now, aftershocks can be of more magnitude than the main earthquake. Okay, this is a false statement because aftershocks are of less magnitude. They are considered after the formation of the main earthquake. Okay. So the doubt is which earthquakes are of more magnitude, foreshocks or aftershocks. So if we can plot the graph of the magnitude, so generally foreshocks are of little bit lower magnitude. Suddenly there is a spike with the help of a main shock. Okay, again slowly the aftershocks, they lower their magnitude. So this is the kind of graph which appears. So generally foreshocks have a lower magnitude compared to aftershocks. So for example, in the Turkey earthquake, the main earthquake was of 7.8 magnitude, whereas the aftershock was of 7.5 magnitude. Okay. So in fact, most of the destruction happened because of aftershocks only. When the main earthquake event happened, foundations of all the buildings have been destabilized. But after the main earthquake, because of series of aftershocks, okay, the destabilized foundations, they were loosened and lot of buildings have collapsed. Okay, so aftershocks are in fact more dangerous. Now again, important topic related to earthquake is earthquake swarms. So in earthquake swarms, they have been asked in UPSC previous years in the mains. So what is the major difference between earthquake swarm and an aftershock? Okay, so in fact both of these are series of earthquakes, but aftershocks does happen after the main shock, whereas for the earthquake swarms, okay, there is no this sequence of aftershock, foreshock and the main earthquake. Earthquake swarms are a low magnitude series of earthquakes which happen in a very localized area. Okay, so that is the major difference between aftershocks and earthquake swarms. So if you can see here, these are the graphs. So this is the main shock, this is the aftershocks. These are the foreshocks, again the main earthquake event, and these are the aftershocks. Whereas in a earthquake swarm, okay, there is no such main event or major shock. Okay, there are a series of low magnitude earthquakes which happen in an area. Okay, because of multiple reasons, because of volcanic activity or because of hydrological impact, etc. So see the next question. This is with reference to the Joshimath land sinking. Okay, consider the following statements. Which of these factors could be responsible for the Joshimath land sinking? Okay. Now Joshimath is located in the seismic zone 1. Is it correct? No. In fact, there is no seismic zone 1. If we can see the seismic map of India, seismic zonation of India, we have only 4 zones, and they start from zone 2, zone 3, zone 4 and zone 5. Okay, if you know this basic statement, if you know this basic concept, then you could have put that answer correct. Okay, there is no zone 1. So Joshimath is present in this area, okay, which is of highest seismic zone. It is present in seismic zone 5. So this is the false statement. Now it is located on unconsolidated sediments, correct? So Joshimath is present on an already destabilized area, which is a part of the landslide. It is of very unconsolidated materials, okay, and hence it has impact and it can sink down easily. Undercutting by the rivers. Okay, Joshimath is present between the rivers Alakananda, etc. And the undercutting and erosion of these rivers is also responsible. Construction activities, widening of the roads and tunnels, hydroelectric projects. So these all come under the anthropogenic impact. Okay, all these impact have been putting pressure on the land. Okay, another major impact is because of the tourism activity. So Joshimath acts as the camping ground for people who are going to pilgrimage of Badrinath and Kedarnath. Okay, so because of that impact, there has been increased tourism activity, anthropogenic activity, and there is withdrawal of groundwater also. Because of this reason, okay, the land has been subsiding. So all these factors are correct except for the first statement. Okay. Next, heat dome. Consider the following statements with regard to heat dome phenomena. Okay, let us see the statements, then we will go into the explanation. Heat dome occurs when an area experiences intense low pressure. So this is a false statement because heat domes are related to areas of high pressure. Okay, it has severe effect on vegetation, crop and may lead to droughts. This is genuine and correct statement. So what are heat domes? How are they related to heat waves? And how are they related to pressure systems? This let us see. So heat dome is an extension of a heat wave. What is a heat wave? Heat wave is a condition where there is prolonged exposure to high temperatures, okay, above normal. Okay, if there is a high temperature deviation from the normal average temperature, then it is called as a heat wave. Okay, so heat dome is the next level of a heat wave where it lasts for weeks together. Okay, so heat dome occurs when high pressure conditions trap the hot ocean air like a lid or a cap. So let us examine where it is happening. So mostly the heat dome has been, it has come into news because of the severe impact it had in North America. Okay, so what is happening is, so this is the North America. So because of the La Nina event which is happening, okay, it has led to changes in the ocean thermal characteristics. So because of the La Nina event, the warmer oceanic wind from the Pacific Ocean is coming towards the North America. Okay, so as this warmer wind is approaching towards the North America, at the same time there is a jet stream activity in North America happening. Okay, so the jet stream which is traveling across the North America, it is creating a high pressure system over this part. Okay, so generally in a high pressure system, air sinks to the bottom. So when the air is sinking towards the bottom, all the hot air which is coming towards America from the Pacific Ocean is getting trapped in that place itself. Okay, it is not letting out. So because of these conditions, all the hot air is getting trapped in this region because of the high pressure. Okay, this high pressure is further influenced by the passage of jet stream. Okay, so this is leading to a phenomena called as heat dome. Okay, another exaggerating fact is that in a high pressure region there is no formation of clouds. Okay, clouds do not form in a high pressure region because in a low pressure region the air rises above and it leads to the formation of clouds, whereas in a high pressure region air sinks to the bottom and the clouds do not form. So there are clear skies. When there are clear skies, the solar activity reaches to the ground directly. Okay, it will further lead to increase in the temperature. Okay, so all these factors are leading to the heat dome activity. Okay, so heat domes are related to high pressure conditions and not low pressure conditions. Okay, that is you have to remember. Okay, next question is regarding bomb cyclone. So let us see the first statement. Bomb cyclones are associated with temperate cyclones. Temperate cyclones are mid-latitude cyclones. So this is in fact a correct statement. They are more prominent in summer over winter. This is false statement. Okay, the pressure at the center of the cyclone drops at a rate of 1 millibar per hour for at least 24 hours. Okay, that means that in a day, okay, the pressure drops by 24 millibar. Okay, if such a pressure conditions exist in a temperate cyclone, then they are called as bomb cyclone. Okay, because it is called as a bomb cyclone because of the explosive nature of the cyclone, where the pressure conditions, the low pressure at the center of the cyclone is rapidly falling down. Okay, so it falls at a rate of 1 millibar per every 1 hour. Okay, and this happens for at least 24 hours. Then it is called as a bomb cyclone. Okay, and you already know that temperate cyclones, they are more severe during winter season than in the summer season, because in winter season there is a greater temperature contrast. Okay, so temperate cyclones, they are found because of frontal activity, fronts, right? Okay, so these fronts happen when two air masses, okay, with contrasting temperatures meet. Okay, so we have cold air mass and we have hot air mass. So the temperature contrast between these two air masses is greater during winter, okay, than in summer. So that is why in winter season temperate cyclones are more active. Okay, in the same way bomb cyclones, they are also more prominent in winter season than summer season. Okay. Okay, now see the following. Match the following. These are certain terms which are in use, and that is the phenomena. So these terms are Deracho, Amalthya, Fujiwhara, and Pineapple Express. Okay. So these are all some important terms which were in use recently. Okay. Let us see what are they. So let us see what is Deracho. So Deracho is basically Deracho is a type of thunderstorm. So what happens in a thunderstorm is, because of intense convection, the air rises to the greater heights, and it is followed by severe and violent rainfall with thunderstorm activity and hails. Okay. Sometimes with intense convection, the air also makes a swirling movement. Okay. So that leads to the formation of tornadoes. Okay. But in a Deracho, the storm is a straightforward storm. So the storm goes straight forward, and there is no spiral movement which can be seen in a tornado. Okay. And that this fast swift moving storm, it can travel thousands of kilometers, and it covers a large area. Okay. And because of the huge moisture that they carry and huge water that they carry, when they are interacting with the light in the atmosphere, they appear in a green color. Okay. So these are called as Deracho storms. Okay. So they are basically thunderstorm, but which are moving in a straight line. Next, let us see what is Pineapple Express. So Pineapple Express, it has nothing to do with any fruit or pineapples, but it is just a term given to an atmospheric phenomena where there is heavy buildup of moisture in the atmosphere, and this moisture is moving in the form of a river valley. Okay. So like in a river valley, the water flows along a channel. So in this atmosphere, especially over the Pacific Ocean, the moisture which is building up in the Pacific Ocean, it goes upward and it flows towards the North American continent in the form of a river. Okay. So it is a conveyor belt of moisture, or it is also called as, the atmospheric river. So this is called as Pineapple Express. So the moisture which is building up over Pacific Ocean, it is channeling and it is moving towards this North America. Okay. This is called as Pineapple Express. Next, Fujiwara Effect. So Fujiwara Effect is related to cyclonic activity. So if there are any two tropical cyclones which are occurring in a same adjacent area, and if the distance between these two tropical cyclones is less than 1400 kilometers, and if the wind speeds is greater than 63 km per hour, okay, and these two tropical cyclones are approaching towards each other, okay, then the interaction between these two cyclones is called as Fujiwara effect. So what may happen is, either one cyclone, it can completely absorb the moisture from the other cyclone, and the other cyclone may get collapsed, or these two cyclones, they will fuse together and they will form a larger cyclone. Okay, so these kind of interactions between two tropical cyclones which are approaching towards each other, okay, this is called as Fujiwara effect. Next, this is it's a satellite of Jupiter which is in news recently. Okay, so it is in news because it is radiating more heat than it is receiving from the sun. Okay, so we know that Jupiter has 4 prominent satellites. They are called as Galilean satellites. They are the largest 4 satellites. So Amalthea is the 5th largest satellite after the 4 Galilean satellites. Okay. So now it will be easy for us to match the following pairs. So Deracho is a straight line windstorm with rapidly moving showers. Amalthea is Jupiter's moon. Fujiwhara is interaction between two tropical cyclonic storms, whereas Pineapple Express is atmospheric conveyor belt of moisture. Next is Barefoot number. Barefoot number is used to indicate. So Barefoot scale is used to indicate the intensity of wind speed. Okay, so it has it's a scale ranging from 0 to 12. Okay, 0 indicates that there is no wind activity, but as the number increases, it means that the wind intensity and the speed of wind is increasing. Okay, so basically Barefoot number is also used to indicate the strength of a cyclone, hurricane storms, how fast they are approaching, how fast the winds are moving. Next question is related to cloudburst. So when can we say cloudburst has happened in an area? Okay, it has certain parameter, some specific parameter. It is that a rain event is timed as a cloudburst if what is the rainfall characteristic? 100 centimeter or 100 millimeter? 100 millimeter. It is either 100 millimeter or 10 centimeter. Okay, so if in a region 10 centimeter of rainfall is happening within 1 hour, okay, then it is called as cloudburst activity. Okay, it is very difficult to predict the cloudburst because of small scale. Okay, that is in fact correct. Okay, because cloudbursts are very much localized. They happen in a very small area. Okay, either a mountain valley or either in orographic rainfall characteristic. Okay, because of their very localized nature and very small scale, they are often difficult to predict when a cloudburst can occur and at what time. Okay, cloudbursts do not occur at plains. Okay, this is a false statement. Cloudbursts can occur over any area, but mostly they are associated with orographic rainfall and are seen in mountainous areas. Okay. Recently, Union government released India's Arctic policy. Consider the following statements with respect to India's engagement in the Arctic region. Okay. So let us see, Arctic region is an important favorite topics of UPSC. Every year at least 1 or 2 questions either come in prelims or mains. Okay, so if you can observe, since the last 5 years they have been asking some of the other questions related to polar regions, either Arctic or Antarctic, the impact of melting glaciers of these regions. Okay, so it is very important for you to concentrate on these regions. Okay, now let us see what is an Arctic Council. So Arctic Council is an intergovernmental forum, okay, comprising of those regions which are present around the Arctic Circle. Okay, so Arctic Council is made of 8 regions, Arctic countries. So these are, if you can see here, this is Alaska. Alaska is part of USA. This is Canada. This is Greenland and Denmark. This is Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and here we have Russia. So these are the 8 Arctic Council countries. Okay, this question has already been asked in prelims. So which among the following countries are part of Arctic Council? So these 8 countries which are surrounding the Arctic Ocean, okay, they are Arctic Council countries. So these 8 Arctic Council countries are permanent members of the Arctic Council. Okay, whereas non-Arctic countries, they can be observer members. Okay, so again this observer status is not a permanent status. Observer countries only have a period of 5 years. After the expiry of 5 years, they have to get elected again. Okay, so there is no concept of full-term observer or a full-term member. Okay, but India is also an observer, but it is not a full-term observer. Every 5 years, India has to get re-elected to be a member of this Arctic Council. Okay, now some important points related to Arctic Council is Ottawa Declaration. So Ottawa Declaration laid the foundation for formation of Arctic Council. Next, another important zone of contentions in Arctic region is, okay, we also have Antarctic Treaty. Okay, Antarctic Treaty lays down that no country can claim territorial claims over Antarctic region. Okay, that means that neither America or any world power, they can claim any land resources as their own. Okay, so Antarctic region is called as a global common. Okay, that means all the countries of the world have equal right over Antarctica for scientific and research purposes. Okay, only that is the only limitation. You can use Antarctica region only for research and scientific purposes. Okay, but we are not allowed to go there and exploit the natural resources of Antarctica. Okay, that is the limitation with respect to Antarctic region because of Antarctic Treaty. But there is no such treaty for Arctic region. Okay, so these countries which are present around the Arctic Circle, these countries have rights over territorial claims over Arctic region. Okay, they can exploit the minerals and resources. Okay, but the only condition is they have to do in a sustainable manner. Okay, and this Arctic Council is also to promote a sustainable utilization of resources. Okay, it is not for banning the exploitation of resources. Okay, so as the global warming is happening, okay, within 50 years it is estimated that the whole ice caps in this Arctic region are going to melt. Okay, so this will provide new avenues for mineral exploration, okay, or also for goods transportation. Okay, so it can simply save a lot of time in transporting goods. So that is the interest of studying this Arctic region. So what is the India's engagement with the Arctic region? So in 2007, India has started its scientific expedition to the Arctic region, and in the next year 2008, India has set up a permanent research facility in Arctic. Okay, that name is Himadri. So Himadri is the one and only India's research station which is present at Arctic. Okay, India also have its research stations in Antarctic region also. Do you know their names? Maitri, Bharati or Dakshin Gangotri. There were 3 set up, but Dakshin Gangotri has become defunct. Okay. Next in 2014, INDARC, a underwater observatory was set up. Next in 2019 again India got re-elected as an observer member. Okay. Again the nodal organization to coordinate all the research activities in the Arctic region is this one, National Center for Polar and Oceanic Research, which is present in Goa. So now let us see these statements. So India is a full-time observer member of the Arctic Council. Okay, this is a false statement. India is not a full-time member. Okay, it is just a part-time observer, you can say. It is not a full-time observer. India presently has 1 research station. This is correct. IMD is the lead organization. No, IMD is not the lead organization. National Center for Polar and Oceanic Research, that is the nodal organization. Okay, see the following question. Okay, this question is related to green manure. So green manure is seen in news related to organic farming. So these years organic farming is gaining ground. So it is one of the methods of organic farming and improving the fertility of soil. So let us see what is green manure, then we will come to the statements. Okay, so green manure is different from other types of manure. So generally natural manures or organic manures are thought to be of decomposed matter, decomposed and fermented organic matter, which is applied to the soil, okay, to increase the fertility. But green manure is different. It is undecomposed matter which is present on the ground. Okay, so green manure can be of different types or different crops. So basically what we do is, we say there are certain types of grasses and small plants which can be grown on the field in fallow areas. Okay, so these are grown as cover crops. Okay, cover crops means that instead of laying the soil bare, okay, what we do is we grow certain kind of small crops which increase the fertility of the soil and which can hold the soil soil constituents. Okay, so these cover crops, they increase the nitrogen content in the soil. Okay, and before sowing of the main crop, these cover crops can be dug into the field itself. Okay, so they will become part of the soil again. They will increase the organic content and carbon content of the soil. Okay, so green manure are live crops which can be grown on fields, okay, which increase the soil fertility and they also control soil erosion. Okay, at the same time, after a certain period, they can be further incorporated into the soil by ploughing them into the soil. Okay, so that is green manure. So it refers to decomposed plant matter. No, this is not decomposed matter, this is live plant matter. Okay, so this is false statement. It helps in controlling the growth of weeds. True, because if these cover crops are grown in an area, okay, they will not provide the scope for growth of weeds. Okay, It improves the soil quality by adding the nitrogen. This is also correct. See the next question. Different types of hydrogen. Okay. So these days again hydrogen fuel and advantage of hydrogen fuel, they are in the news very much, okay, because of our transition towards green energy. So hydrogen, this hydrogen fuel, it can be derived from various sources. So based on the source and based on the process in which this hydrogen fuel is generated, the hydrogen is categorized into different types. Okay. So this is called as hydrogen fuel spectrum. Okay. Just as we have different colors, okay, the hydrogen fuel based on the source of the raw material, okay, it can be categorized into different colors. So let us see them. So first we have is green hydrogen. So we know that to produce hydrogen there is an famous and a popular process called as electrolysis. Electrolysis, what happens there? The water constants, they are split into hydrogen and oxygen. Okay. So this electrolysis, it requires power, and the source from which we are getting this energy for electrolysis, okay, makes this process different. So for example, in the green hydrogen, the electrolysis is happening through renewable energy. Okay. So the energy which is required for electrolysis is coming from renewable sources, okay, like wind, solar, hydro, geothermal, tidal, etc. Okay. Then we can call it as green hydrogen. So since the energy is derived from renewable sources, the impact or the greenhouse gas emission is the least for green hydrogen. Whereas for purple or pink hydrogen, so basically here the electrolysis is powered by nuclear energy. For yellow hydrogen, okay, so this is electrolysis powered by mixed origin grid energy. That means like as in India, okay, in India we have, and the entire power grid is supported by different renewable and non-renewable sources. It's a mixture of both, energy mix. Okay. So if the electrolysis is powered by such an energy mix, then it is called as yellow hydrogen. Okay. If it is pink, then it is nuclear energy. Green hydrogen means it is powered by renewable energy. Okay. Next is let us consider these: black hydrogen, brown hydrogen and grey hydrogen. So black hydrogen and brown hydrogen, here the hydrogen is derived by coal gasification process. Okay, gasification, what happens in a gasification? Fossil fuels, okay, fossil fuels are combusted with controlled combustion, okay, with limited supply of oxygen and steam, hot steam, okay, gasification takes place. Okay. So if the gasification is taking place on black coal or bituminous coal, then it is called as black hydrogen. If the gasification is taking place on lignite coal, okay, then it is brown hydrogen. Okay. Next, grey hydrogen means gasification process happening in natural gas, okay, then it is grey hydrogen. Okay. Next we have turquoise hydrogen. Turquoise hydrogen means pyrolysis, metal pyrolysis activity happening on methane gas, okay, then it is called as turquoise. Whereas blue hydrogen is different concept. So here in all this grey hydrogen, brown hydrogen and black hydrogen, what is happening is, in this gasification process, along with hydrogen, greenhouse gases are emitted in the form of byproducts. Okay. So in this process, black hydrogen, brown hydrogen, in this gasification process, the greenhouse gases like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, etc., which are emitted, are directly released into the atmosphere. But in blue hydrogen, okay, these emitted gases, they are once again trapped. Okay. So that means they are not emitted directly, but they are captured, they are stored and sequestered. Okay. That means they are not released into the atmosphere. Okay. So then it is called as blue hydrogen. Okay. So it is gasification process plus CCUS. CCUS means carbon capture and sequestration. Okay. Then it is called as blue hydrogen. Now let us see the following pairs. So black hydrogen means it is related to bituminous coal, brown hydrogen it is lignite gas, grey hydrogen is natural gas, pink hydrogen means nuclear energy. So all these 4 pairs are correct. So consider the following statements regarding British Commonwealth of Nations. Okay, so we know that Commonwealth of Nations, these are countries, an association of Britain's former colonies, and not just that, any country if it follows certain criteria, it has to be democratic, there should be freedom of, it has some criteria, they can also apply to be a member of Commonwealth Nations. Okay, so this you have to keep in mind, which countries are joining, which countries are leaving, what is the latest country to join, etc. Okay, so it was in news, Gabon and Togo, these are the 2 countries, 2 African countries which have joined the British Commonwealth of Nations recently. Okay, and if we see the membership of Commonwealth of Nations, okay, the largest representation is from Africa. In Africa there are 21 countries which are forming part of British Commonwealth, whereas from Europe there are only 3 countries from Europe which are part of British Commonwealth. Okay, they are United Kingdom itself and Cyprus and Malta. Okay, Cyprus and Malta. So these are the 3 countries from Europe which are part of Commonwealth. So let us see the statements. Gabon is the recent most country to join Commonwealth, correct. There are no European countries in the Commonwealth, this is false. There are 3 European countries, okay, which are forming part of Commonwealth. Which of the phenomena given below indicates an El Nino condition? Okay, so let us see generally first what happens in an El Nino. So La Nina or extreme normal conditions. So what happens is generally the trade winds which are blowing in this region, they pile up the surface oceanic water towards the Western Pacific Ocean. Okay, so this is Western Pacific and this is Eastern Pacific. Okay, so the normally blowing trade winds, okay, they blow the winds towards the surface water, hot water towards the Western Pacific. Okay, whereas what happens in El Nino condition is that these trade winds, they are weakened. Because of the weakening of trade winds, okay, the surface water is piling up towards this side, towards the Eastern Pacific. Okay, so this alters the climatic conditions in that region. This is called as El Nino. Now let us see the statements. So westward wind, blowing trade winds weaken along the equator. This is correct. So because of weakening of the trade winds only, it set start the El Nino phenomena. This is correct statement. Increase in the temperature of water on the Peruvian coast. Okay, so does the temperature of water increase in the Peruvian coast? Yes. Abundance of plankton and hence fishing in the Eastern Pacific. So we are talking about Eastern Pacific, that means towards the coast of Peru. So here it is saying that there is increase in temperature of water. Okay, so this is a false statement because generally along the Peruvian coast there is upwelling of cold water. So along with upwelling of cold water, okay, it provides nutrients for plankton growth. Okay, and hence it is an important fishing ground. Whereas all these conditions are altering because of El Nino conditions. Okay, so there is not any abundance of plankton and fishing in the Eastern Pacific. So this is false statement. So these are some of the important current affair related questions. Okay.